Going everyone, it's Gavin from Balls to You. This should be coming. This video should have been a positive video, a new clutch, new babies to look at. Unfortunately, it's bad news. Okay, I was in two minds whether to do this video, but as I've said before in my previous videos, I want to show every aspect and everything that I can to do with this hobby, so that you guys you understand. There is good times and there is bad times. There is more good than bad, but those bad times really can affect you, especially if you're passionate about what you do. Okay, I'm going to go through the pairing first of all. The pairing was a banana male bred to a cinnamon female. Now this cinnamon, she came into my collection around about 700 grams. She was a bit of a funny feeder. The previous owner sort of said, oh, she's a terrible feeder. I used to chase her around and really piss her off with a rat, so she'd strike at the rat and take it. Now I thought that was a bit bad, but I'm not going to question his method. But anyway, she started to feed for me. She was a little bit up and down, but we got her on the right track. She was a first time mom, got her up to size, and she gave me 4 eggs. Out of them 4 eggs, 1 was infertile, so that left me with 3. 1 died in incubation, okay, then that left me with 2. Now these 2, there was one probably about sort of that big, tiny little thing it was, and then there was another one completely the opposite end of the scale, sort of that size in length, double the size, double the weight. So they went through full incubation period. They had little windows in them. I could see the development of the snake due to the window, and if you guys are unfamiliar with windows, it's just basically where the egg isn't fully calciumized or calciumed, whatever it's called. So it allows you to see inside and watch the development of the embryo. So 2 eggs to cut open, started cutting them open, and straight away I realised there was a problem. I had a sneaky feeling that this clutch wasn't going to be a strong clutch, simply due to the way they were laid. The infertile one, then one died. I really didn't expect the other 2 to go full term, but they did. Like I said, guys, in this hobby there's good and there's bad, and this is definitely one of the bad times. So we go in, it was day 56 or 58, I can't quite remember. So basically past full term. So we cut the eggs open, and sure enough, in the first little egg, because I was mainly concerned about the first little egg, was a solid silver / purple snake, which really threw me off, because obviously that's not possible, because we got the dad was a banana and the mom was a cinnamon. So I took a few minutes, and the reason why I left them in there, now normally, like you guys are aware who follow me, I normally cut on day 55. The reason why we left it that little bit longer was simply because the eggs, especially the small one, I just wanted to give them that little bit longer to see what was happening. So cut them open. Like I said, the small one, solid silver and purple snake, really bizarre, no pattern whatsoever, still alive. Thought, okay, that's strange. Went to the other one, which was obviously the bigger one out of the 2, cut that open, and that was even more bizarre, because it wasn't a banana, it wasn't a cinnamon. The best way I can describe it was like a super normal, and that sounds really crazy. It was no alien heads, there was no sort of flaming or anything like that up the side. Really bizarre, really clean as well, really clean. Again, this one was alive as well. So I just still didn't have a real good feeling about these 2 eggs. I was scratching my head. The minute I looked at them for the second time, I basically realised what had happened. The mom had done what's called parthenogenesis. That's parthenogenesis. You can get it confused with parthenogenesis, but that's something completely different. It's parthenogenesis. And basically what that means, I'm going to tell you in layman's terms, because that's how I work. To make a fertilised egg or embryo, you're going to need one cell from the mom, one cell from the dad. They go together, they make a baby. It's a quick bird and the bees, guys, okay? What happened was the mom threw 2 of her cells into the eggs. So basically she didn't use the sperm from the male, because obviously, as we know and we've seen, females can retain sperm, and they can also pick and choose what sperm they want to use to fertilise their eggs. Now, there's a couple of reasons behind this why I think we didn't have a very good success rate. Nothing to do with the method of how I do things, or incubation, or how we keep them, or whatsoever, because otherwise everything else, every other egg, you know, would have the same problem. So the only thing I can put it down to is basically the mom being a first time mom. Again, there's no real science or testing being done on any of this. A lot of this stuff we're still learning ourselves. So the mom basically threw 2 cells into that embryo, rather than the dad giving 1 and the mom giving 1 to produce a healthy embryo. The mom gave 2 of her own, okay, on both eggs. So she gave the cinnamon cell twice. So that silver snake was a super cinnamon basically, and the other one, which was the normal looking one, again, this is all my theory, she gave 2 of the normal gene across, which sounds bizarre, because normally if you're going to create a normal, you have one normal cell and another normal cell to produce a normal baby. But this thing, guys, was absolutely super clean, really bizarre patterns, and just bizarre. I would describe it closer to what we know as a classic jungle. I'm in 2 minds whether to put the pictures on screen, so I'm going to talk a bit more about them. They are quite graphic, guys, so I'm going to pre-warn you. So if I do decide to put them on screen, please be advised, if there are any children watching this, they may not, you as adults may want to see this first. So let's talk about the super cinnamon. The super cinnamon didn't seem, majority of the times when this happens, it's happened twice this year that I know to. One from another guy over in the States, which was very sad. He had 4 of them, 2 super pewters and 2 super cinnies. If you look at the picture, or the picture of the super cinnamon I've got, it looked closer to a super pewter, which is super pastel, super cinnamon, than it did to a super cinnamon. It was very silver in colour. When I looked at it, it had the classic super cinnamon duckbill shape to its face, and I couldn't see any kinks. Now, when the mom tends to do this, and again, you tend to get quite a few birthing defects, okay, so bear this in mind. And again, with certain mutations that you breed together, you can get birthing defects, or a defect in the snake. A lot of people say, super cinnamon, that can give you a lot of kinking, a lot of duck build, and a lot of deformities in the snakes. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm a big 50-50. I've seen super cinnamons which have looked fantastic and been no problems, and then I've seen other super cinnamons which look, not being funny, but they look horrendous. They are bad. The king, the duck bills are bad. They probably struggle to eat. So you get high variations. So please be aware when you are breeding cinnamon to cinnamon, the potential outcome that you can get. It's all about research, guys, okay? So going back, so the first snake out of the small egg was a super cinnamon, long and short of it, super cinnamon. It was alive. I kept checking on it. They still hadn't come out of the egg, and that was the other thing that was bizarre. Also, the yolk sac, there was quite a lot of it, which again, I double checked my dates and made sure everything was right. So I was convinced that basically the mom had done what's called parthenogenesis. Okay, so at that, I left them in there. Then I had a bit of a surprise, because when I looked in there like a few hours later, I noticed the super cinnamon had started sticking its head out, which was fantastic, because then I was, I could fully see its face. I couldn't really see any kinks in the body when I was looking at it in the egg, so I was sort of fairly confident that possibly that snake may survive. The other snake next to it, the normal looking snake, let's go to that. That was a big egg again. If I do throw up the pictures, here are the pictures, and as you can see from the picture, the pattern is really clean, just completely something, I don't know, like an ancient desert would look like a tiger basically, and we all know about the history about the deserts. But anyway, so it looked to me a lot like either a classic jungle or a tiger. Again, I did manage to see that one's head before it disappeared, because that was obviously sticking up and that was ready to come out. And again, that was duck-billed. His jaw was sort of slightly off, so he wasn't in the bestest shape, and I could see there was a few kinks. So again, that one wasn't in the bestest shape. For me, it doesn't matter whether they're kinked or not. If they're feeding and they're sort of going to the bathroom, okay, that's fine by me. I'll keep them as a pet. But what I won't do is I won't keep an animal that can't feed or can't go to the restroom, because that's just pure cruelty, I'm afraid. So you've got to do the right thing. So that normal looking snake, I thought, okay, that's fine. It's going to stick its head out, in the next couple of hours, because the super cinnamon has. Came back a few more hours later, and the super cinnamon basically was sort of halfway out and on its back, and unfortunately, very sad, but it didn't make it. Okay, so at that point, that then made me think about the other normal. By then, the other normal hadn't stuck its head out. So with that in mind, I then looked at it closely. I then realised that it hadn't broken its embryonic sac. Now, within the egg, you've got the eggshell, you've got the embryonic fluid, then you've got like a secondary sac that the snake is in. Especially those people who know about boas. When baby boas are born, they come out in like a sac that they have to pierce to get out. Again, it's just like a see-through egg, if you like. So this normal looking snake was still in its embryonic sac. Okay, and again, none of the yolk sac had been absorbed. And I was touching it, and whereas before it was moving, this time it wasn't. So I basically took it out of the egg, and sure enough, that one had also gone as well. Looking back, is there anything I could have done to save it? No. And you hear these stories about snakes not being born without egg tooth. Well, I did do a quick check on these snakes after I got them out, just at general condition, looked at them, because obviously they made it pretty much close to full full term. They were fully developed. They just couldn't absorb that yolk sac, which would obviously fill out and sort of cause the insides to grow and etc., and feed them for X amount of weeks. And sure enough, they didn't have an egg tooth. So I'm pretty convinced that even if them snakes were alive now, I do honestly think that they wouldn't survive due to the kinks that I saw in the body, and it wasn't nice. It was a shame. But it happens, guys, and this is something you've got to be prepared if you are new to the breeding game, or you've been breeding for quite a bit and you've not come across this before. This is what I want to make you guys aware. This thing does happen. It's not a myth. It's no BS. It does happen. Okay, you've got to take it for what it is, guys. Sort of learn from it and sort of move on. It's nothing you've done as a breeder. It's not the way you've incubated your eggs. It's not the way you've done your pairings. Again, because if you're mindful of what you're pairing together, okay, then obviously you've tried your best not to produce a lethal gene or a lethal super. So, you've done your best to try and sort of counteract that. So yeah, not a very happy video, I'm afraid, guys, and I wanted to be here sort of showing you some baby cinnamons and banana cinnamons, but unfortunately, guys, like I said, with this hobby you do get the bad side, and fingers crossed, touch wood, doesn't happen a lot, you know, it's very rare in anyone's collection, but it does happen. Okay, so it's one of them, like I said, I just want to make you guys aware. Again, if for those people who want to learn more about it and want to study a bit more in depth, it's called parthenogenesis. I will put a description, I will spell it in the description down below. If anyone want to do a quick Google and have a look and see exactly what happens, it's normally due to asexual lizards and other animals, basically, that don't require a male to fertilise their babies and produce babies. But obviously, with the species that we work with, ball pythons, you do need a male and female, because when the mom decides to use her own cells, whether she decides to or whether it's just a freak, or a freak miracle or whatever, I don't know. A freak occurrence, I really don't know. But it happens, and that's something that you guys have got to be aware of. Okay, so I'm going to shut up ranting and moaning and sort of going on, but I just want to tell you guys exactly what happened. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit down about it. It was upsetting, obviously, but we've got plenty of more babies still to come. For those who are new to my channel, welcome and thanks for your support. I noticed the other day we got over 2,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. I know a lot of people out there on YouTube have got 150,000 followers and what have you, but for me to reach 2,000 is beyond my dreams. So for all you guys who subscribe and follow me actively, thanks for your support. I really do appreciate it, and if there's anything I can help you guys out with in the future, just give me a shout and I'll try and help. Okay, everyone, hope you're all okay. Take care, enjoy your animals, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care.